for a while and you feel like you've hit a plateau and you're just not improving anymore. You've upgraded your hardware, but you're still not able to be as fast as you would like. Well, guess what? I did that too, okay? I'm as guilty as you are. And that's exactly why Racine and myself created what we call the advanced way to learn. By using the techniques that we're about to show you, we were able to win national championships, and we're now coaching real-life drivers and sim racers all across the globe. So let me tell you why you absolutely need this to improve your racing skills. On this platform, you'll go through 5 learning steps. The first one is going to be to watch video lessons so you can take in all that theory. The second step will be to answer quizzes. We've created some questions to test your knowledge. Next, you'll have to partake in challenges. Here, you'll have to prove to yourself that you can apply what you've learned. You'll go on track and you'll try to beat the instructor's lap times for sector time. Following the challenge, you'll be able to send your onboard replay so instructors and other community members can help you improve. And lastly, you can get involved in the community to meet some new teammates and learn from others. This platform is a back and forth discussion between us, the instructor, and you, the students. If you're serious about becoming the best driver out there, this is the advanced way to learn.
With the ButtKicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. ButtKicker, the future is feeling.
Races and 2 more chances left to make the championship for this season. Mark Kalin was able to lock himself in with a clutch win at Martinsville last week, but there's 3 AM spots and all 4 pro spots still up for grabs as we go racing in Phoenix. Not to crown a champion, but to get closer to crowning a champion. RaceSpotTV welcomes you to round 7 of the PRL Truck Fixed series. My name is Joey Tebben. Joining me in the booth is Mr. Derek Watson, and behind the scenes on Sound and Pictures is Hugo Luis. It's almost time, Derek. 3 rounds total left in the season, 2 rounds left in the round of 8. If you want to be fighting for a championship, you don't have much more time to rack up all those points.
No, Joey, just like the temperatures in the desert, the stakes are heating up as we get down through the schedule here. See, week number 7 at Phoenix, and we got Kentucky Speedway next week before we wrap it up at the Auto Club Speedway on November 20th. Let's go ahead and start running through some of the points and see how it looks as we get into week 7. Remember, Joey, these are with drop weeks included. So right now, Richard Regan, a 3-point lead over Bradley Holly. Jeff Ward's in third, a few points back from there. Mark Kalen's only 1 point behind him. And you got Jeff Evans and Daniel Knight fighting for P5, only 2 points apart, with Ted Lowendick right there behind him. And then James Morgan, Abner Acosta, and Thomas Sink round out the top 10 for the pro standing points.
And the important story for Richard Regan Jr. after his technical failure last week that took him and Bradley Holly out of the race, he had to take that as his drop week. He has received a new computer. He will be racing tonight. He will continue fighting for the championship. No such technical failures in the AM division, but Brett Adams, a championship contender, his drop week has been considered there. He's going to have to take this week as his drop week. He's serving a 1-race ban due to accumulating too many caution points at Martinsville. He's going to get 0 for this week, and that's going to end up being 0 points dropped. That's going to hurt his championship chances. Nick Schwartz won his first race on an oval in the PRL last week, so he could be a late championship contender, and you can never count out Patrick Cowgill, Zach Panzarella, and even some of those drivers deeper in the standings. The AM standings, always unpredictable due to how the point scoring works. You score points based on position, not based on where you finish relative to your fellow AMs. The team standings are not pro-AM split. They're all combined. And you can see the combined points have gone Whataback Overdrive's way so far this season, a 53-point lead rather over their fellow team Whataback TNT. TNT's going to be struggling a little bit tonight. They're down 1 driver, Thomas Sink, not allowed to race tonight. Bluegrass Motorsports, they'll have both of their drivers with Mark Kalin and Jeff Ward, but only 3 races left to make up a 59-point gap. Going to be a tall task for Bluegrass, but if they can get another 1-2 like they did at Martinsville, who knows what's going to be possible. And last but not least, as I mentioned, the playoffs, so important this season. It's been the main storyline, even more so than those season-long points, even with how close they are. Mark Kalin was not a driver who looked like he was going to make the championship 4 on points, but he won last week at Martinsville triumphantly, his first win in the truck. He's stolen one of the pro spots. There's only 3 pro spots left. All 4 of the AM spots are open as well.
Yeah, let's take a couple storylines to look at here, Joey, starting with the pro side. So P8 Thomas Sink, unfortunately suspended tonight and next week. He is not racing. He's not eligible. So it's really only 7 drivers on that side competing. Evans, Morgan, and Acosta need to run down Lowendick, Regan Jr., and Holly on the left side. On the right side, the AM division, Cowgill, Panzarella, Brett Adams, and Andrew Sharp. Brett Adams also not allowed to race tonight due to some incident points at Martinsville. So Brett's really hoping that no one below the cut line, whether it be Calvert, Hunter, Toomer, or Nick Hunter, wins this race, because he wants to hold on to that spot for dear life. So some big implications from those penalty points from last week that will shape how these playoffs look.
What an upset that would be if Abner Acosta below the cut line doesn't make the championship 4, the 2022 playoff champion. He's got to have a good week this week. But we are going to have a good week this week thanks to Advanced Sim Racing. Owned and operated by passionate sim racers, Advanced Sim Racing designs and builds the sturdiest and most durable aluminum profile racing simulation cockpits available in the market today. All PRL members get a 5% discount on ASR products using the Precision 5 coupon code. Racebox offers mid and high-end button boxes for sim racing enthusiasts, from the casual gamer up to the most meticulous sim racing driver. Competitively priced and carefully handcrafted, their button boxes are an enjoyable addition to any sim racing setup. Visit raceboxsimracing.com and also get a 5% discount, also using the Precision 5 coupon code. The ButtKicker products add incredible immersion and realism to every game. Feel every nuance and truly put yourself in the driver's seat with the ButtKicker. Moradness is a performance lifestyle brand motivated by motorsport and founded by professional race car driver Daniel Morad. For more information, visit moradness.com. Mr. Hedge iRacing Photography. Capture your finest, proudest, or simply worst moments from your hobby in up to 8K resolution. Great addition to any sim room. And last but not least, get ready to learn to be fast with Advanced Motorsports. Follow them on their socials to become a better driver. Only a couple seconds left in qualifying here at Phoenix. Ted Lowendick working on getting his last time on the board. He's going to put himself up into P6. But no surprise, the qualifying master this season, Richard Regan Jr., even with a new computer, has put it back up top. He's put it on pole. What a run for Andrew Sharp, though. Only 10,000ths off the qualifying master.
Yeah, right. What a great run for him to come back and be that way. Let's go take a look at the grid, though, and we'll give some pre-race thoughts afterwards.
The Richard Regan Jr. on pole for, I couldn't tell you the total amount of times this season. Yes, I can. I can tell you it's the 6th time in 7 races that Richard Regan Jr. will start on pole this season. That is craziness. He has been so dominant in qualifying. Let's see if he can pick up win number 3. Andrew Sharp will be looking to end that. He might be an AM driver, but a win's a win all the same. If you could beat the pros to a win, you get credited with the win. Patrick Cowgill had a tough week at Martinsville last week and still managed to finish 3rd. He's looking for a good week as he starts alongside Daniel Knight. Last week's winner, Mark Kalin, looking for his 2nd win in a truck, starts alongside Ted Lowendick, who also had a fantastic comeback drive last week. Abner Acosta looking outside into the championship 4, needs to have a good week, maybe even win this week. He starts alongside Bradley Holly. Zach Panzarella and Dalton Geyer, the 2 Team DDI drivers, round out the top 10. Jacob Dunn's back with us in 11, and Zachary Burnt is going to wrap off the top dozen in that bright green truck.
Moving back into row number 7, Mike Richter is that number 15 truck in P13 with Jeff Evans, P14 and number 51. Austin Hurt, that number 27 machine with James Morgan, part of Todd Rossi Esports on the outside there. Row 8, row 9, Stacey Hunter and Tom Massey, P19, Alex Hillman and Mike Toomer Jr. Jeff Ward and Jamie Graham, 21 and 20. That's a far back spot for Jeff Ward. We'll keep a look on that as the night goes on. And then Dustin Bumgarner and Nicholas Schwartz, 23rd and 24th. And then 25th, Joey, is Nicholas Hunter. He is the last car on the grid this evening.
And the majority of those trucks at the back of the field not allowed to qualify. Dustin Bumgarner, Jamie Graham, Nick Hunter, Marty Calvert, and Jeff Ward all disallowed from qualifying this week due to penalties they accrued last week or in the weeks before. There's also many drivers who unfortunately accumulated too many caution points last week at Martinsville. Dylan Schmidt is serving a 1-race ban, as are Jose Medina, Brett Adams, Nathan Deering, and Tyler Graff. 2-race suspension went the way of Thomas Sink, and Kyle Dewey will be sitting a 3-race suspension. He'll be back next season. So it's a shorter field than we've been used to this season, Derek. We've been used to seeing fields almost close to 40 trucks. I don't know if that's going to bode well, potentially. Less trucks on track, less chaos. Does that mean more green flag racing tonight?
I think it does, Joey. And listen, that growing or that decrease in number of is a couple reasons. One, obviously you said there's some penalties being handed out, some drivers not racing. 2, maybe some drivers who, we get busy this time of year with holidays and prepping and what. So we'll see how this. Remember, the pace truck pulls off super early here, Joey. The leader has to maintain that pace speed all the way to the restart zone.
You know how much Richard Regan Jr. loves to control these starts. He looked to have a win at Martinsville in the books last week, but a technical failure, no fault of his own, took him out and ended up taking out one of his championship rivals as well. But Richard's back with fresh machinery, a fresh truck, and a fresh shot at making the championship 4. The number 56 truck leads us to green for the 6th time this season, and we're off in Phoenix. They're already fanning out 3 wide through the dogleg. Look at Mark Kalin in the 62. The guy started on row 3. He's already looking to the inside of Patrick Cowgill and Andrew Sharp, looking to take 2nd through turns 1 and 2 for the first time.
And 3 wide at Phoenix is not unheard of, Joey. It's difficult to hold on to. But see, look at that. Kalen's falling back quickly. It's going to be Sharp in 2nd, Cowgill in 3rd, and then a plethora of drivers on back. But this is a beautiful race here. And that dogleg allows us to go 3, 4, maybe even 5 wide at some points here at Phoenix.
Mark has rejoined basically where he started back in 5th. You see Abner Acosta in the bright yellow truck side by side with Dalton Geyer, Jacob Dunn in the purple number 3 behind him. It's looking like it might be a long green flag run, but it might not be, as Kalin, Knight, and Lowendick are side by side at the front of your screen. There's so many lanes at Phoenix. There's so many different grooves. And when you've got fresh tires like these, you're seeing guys like Bradley Holly go all the way down to the bottom, trying to take advantage of every bit of the track they can.
Now, the problem getting down there into that dog leg, though, Joey, is when you need to come back up, it's hard to tell. You'll get a spotter called car high or car low, but you don't know what that means. Is he right next to you? Is he like a mile up from you? You don't know. And so those rejoins off that dog leg can be difficult. But look at this. Mark Kalin is falling back quickly. Look at that. Already back down here to P7. and it's under attack now from Abner Acosta.
Yeah, there was a huge drift from Mark Kalin off of turn 2. He did a great job of saving it, but it's easy to get in an endless cycle like that at Phoenix. You start getting loose off of turn 2, then you get loose off of turn 2 the next lap, and the next lap, and the next lap, and the tires start overheating. The one good thing for Mark Kalin, though, where he finishes tonight does not matter in terms of the playoffs. Where he finishes next week doesn't matter in terms of the playoffs. He is making the championship 4 either way. But Mark is also an outside contender for the season championship. He's only about 30 points behind Holly and Regan. He doesn't want to lose too many spots here. He doesn't want to just have a bad day and ride in his laurels. He wants to keep fighting.
Yeah, I don't know. It's funny. I talked to Mark and I said, how are you feeling? He said, man, this isn't my track, but I'm locked in, thank goodness. I don't know if he's really thinking about the season points because he was just happy to know that the playoff spot is secure and he will be one of the final 4 drivers at the last race of the season. See him here right now under that 3 Tabula Rasa machine, that iconic purple look there, and is trying to hold his own through the corner here.
Things have stratified out, almost single file all the way through the field, a little bit of side-by-side for about 17th, but other than that, we've settled into a little bit of a rhythm here. And Phoenix is one of those tracks where if you settle into a rhythm like this, if we settle into a long green flag run, it's a place where tire saving and tire conservation are going to be rewarded. If you can drive your way through the field with fresh machinery, saw Jeff Ward there trying to make his way through the field the old-fashioned way, just trying to make up spots. But for drivers like Abner Acosta and Bradley Holly, we look to them as the epitomes of tire saving and thinking forward.
Yeah, and a lot of things are going to happen as this race goes on if we stay green, Joey. First up, if we stay green, we're going to do probably somewhere in the neighborhood of about 175 laps, maybe I would say, maybe even more, if this race can stay green. Here's an onboard with Jamie Graham now. See, he's got that kind of 8-bit pixelated cat on the front of the car there. Currently riding here in P16. But the number of laps here could really mean a lot to these drivers. We're going to have to get tires on this truck at some point. When do you want to stop and get gas? You definitely can't go that many laps on a tank of gas here. So if we stay green, those pit stops will become a story here at Phoenix. Also, this race is going to go on and it's going to get into the nighttime. So this track will cool off as the night goes on and more grip will be found at this track.
And historically, at Phoenix in the PRL Truck Series, there has never been a caution-free race. There's been 3 single caution races. There has never been a caution-free race. But today, with a shorter field, who knows what might be possible. Dalton Geyer, I think he's taken to tire conservation as of late. Him and his teammate Zach Panzarella riding close together here. Let's ride on board with Dalton to see how he's taken this early in the run.
Down maybe into the first or second groove of the corner. Could track out a little higher that allowed him to get more speed out of the corner. Let's see if he shifts down here. I didn't hear the shift down, Joey. Did you?
No.
That's surprising to me a little bit. I thought for sure shifting down here into third would be the way to go in the corners.
Well, maybe multiple drivers thinking multiple different ways. James Morgan thinking about getting to the inside of Dalton Geyer as he was looking forward at his teammate Zach Panzarella, wasn't able to make that move. And James Morgan in the 12, the number 12, looking for P12. He's not late enough on the brakes into turn 1 to make it happen, though. And around the outside, Dalton Geyer, higher with a run, is going to hang on for the moment.
Yep, doing a great job hanging on for the moment here. And listen, tire conservation will be the story here. This track, not the nicest to a set of tires. So if we are going to stay green, those who can save tires will probably find their way sort of rising to the top, so to speak, and getting to the front of the field if they're able to do that. Assuming we can stay green. There's Kyle Brandt, I believe, in the 28 on the outside. That iconic, I call it the John Deere paint scheme, Joey. Just kind of what it reminds me of. Man, that 12 truck was pointed way deep into that dogleg, though. I got nervous for a second.
He's getting aggressive, and the green truck of Zachary Burnt getting aggressive as well. You saw him sending it into turn 1 there. Got a little bit of loose in the rear end. He'll rejoin and keep it pointed straight in 14th, but James Morgan is one of those drivers who is still in the round of 8. Interestingly, he seems to have fallen back a little bit into the wayside. He's still in the round of 8. He's very close to making the championship 4. He's only about 17 points off of Ted Lowendick, but he's been doing it quietly, and I think he needs to have a big day, get a big result of some sort here today if he wants to keep any chances of the championship 4 alive.
Oh, caution's out.
Daniel Knight. Well, we mentioned the possibility of a caution-free race at Phoenix. Unfortunately, we're going to be following the historical trends. The first caution flies as Daniel Knight looks to have gotten into a little bit of solo trouble off of turn 2. Once again, we'll have a caution at a race in Phoenix.
Yep, so here we are. First caution, about 7 minutes in. We'll see what happened to Daniel Knight. He's going to get, possibly it's a little too happy on the throttle out of that corner. Spun around all by himself, kept it down there. Good job by Daniel Knight by not making it worse. And Joey, if there's a place not to want to have a wreck here at Phoenix, it's that back straight. That back straight is narrow and tight. It is hard to avoid a wreck there just by default of how narrow it is.
And now we've already got a split in tire strategies. We did only go racing for about 14 laps there, but about half the field has said, we're coming down pit road, we're putting fresh tires on this thing. Everybody from Mark Kalin back has said, we're already going to take advantage of our first set of tires here. Dalton Geyer's down pit road, Zach Panzarella's down pit road, Jeff Evans, literally everybody from Mark Kalin on back says this is the better way to do things.
I think this is a gamble of that belief that we do get longer green runs here at Phoenix. You're right. We've never gone caution free, but we've had some long green flag runs here. And so drivers like Kalin, Knight, Evans, Dalton Geyer, James Morgan, they're hoping that maybe we do go green for a long time after this. And listen, you know, those tires could mean something as newer, you know, if we do stay green. Or, hey, if we don't, we'll see what happens. But we'll see what's going on. Man, this is Zach Panzarella on this pit road for a long time there. I'm not sure what that's about. Let me take a quick peek and see. No black flag. Maybe get some damage fixed. I don't know.
He did have some damage on the rear end of that truck. I remember when we were riding on board with Dalton Geyer, there was a little bit of a crunch on the back of the 247. So I think that's what he was getting repaired there. Daniel Knight still in his pit stall as well, getting the front end of that truck repaired. But other than that, that was very, very clean and was looking like it was developing well there. Now, though, this has been the thing we've seen all season where the strategy's split. Drivers stay out on old tires, half the field comes in and gets new tires on, and when those new tires and those old tires mix, especially when some drivers are maybe a little bit advanced forward in the field from where they normally are, that's where we've seen chaos develop, and that's where we've seen cautions breeding cautions this season. We'll see if the same thing happens this time.
Yeah, it may take a little bit to occur here. I was trying to think Mark Kaler. Actually, Jeff Ward's going to be the first driver with that pit stop, and that's back in P13, Joey. So right there on your board, just towards the bottom, right there below Mike Richter. So we'll see what happens here and how soon those tire strategies come together. But I think what'll be interesting is how much more aggressively the new tires will attack the dog leg than those who stayed out.
Richard Regan Jr. back in control of the field. Andrew Sharp hoping to learn from that initial start, see if he can stick with Richard that little bit more. Green flag back in the hands of Barney the Flagman, and we're racing once more at Phoenix. Is another great restart for Richard Regan Jr. streaking away from the field. Look at Patrick Cowgill in the 31 trying to take second away from his AM rival early. Bradley Holly and Ted Lowendick, a pair of pros behind them, right on board with Ted, ripping the outside, getting a better run than Holly on the outside. Where does he go now? Can he get to the outside of Cowgill? Can he follow Sharp in the draft into turn 1 and try and steal third from his teammate?
Doing a great job riding up here and holding on to that truck, and see now dip through that dog leg and probably end up even up with Patrick Cowgill. Let's listen here for a second. Again, I don't hear the shifting I was expecting, Joey, so maybe these drivers have figured out with the track temps and the way the setup is built that they don't want to shift. Now, shifting would get you a better launch out of the corner. That's why some drivers want to do it, but it does put you at risk of revving up those RPMs and getting loose through the corner.
3 wide in the middle of the field. The old tires and the new tires are coming together. Mark Kalin, Austin Hunter, and Mike Richter 3 wide into turn 1 this time. And behind them, Schwartz and Hunter and Morgan and Jeff Ward and a whole host of others are 3 wide as well. This is exactly what we were talking about. The swarm in the middle of the field. Near contact between Schwartz and Hunter into turn 1. They get that resolved for now, though.
Wow, that looked like a Sunday, like a Thursday morning traffic jam out in the interstate, didn't it? Just 3 wide, 2 deep, and everyone kind of battling for something. But here we go again. Drivers using that dogleg and coming back up the track and doing a great job of hitting their marks so far. Speaking of Mark, there's Mark Kalin right there behind James Morgan and the rest of the competition here. And Mark, of course, as you said, locked in after that emotional win last week. Went out and made a strategy work, beat his teammate Jeff Ward. And so he gets to kind of relax for a couple weeks, Joe. I mean, yeah, you're right. There's still a Season 4 points title, but for the year-long playoff points, Mark Kalin knows he's in.
It's a tale of two different strategies for the Bluegrass Motorsports drivers. It is slightly confusing because they're painted almost identical today, but Mark Kalin does have fresh tires on that truck. He was the leader of the new tire strategy. He's carving his way forward. He's on your screen right now. Jeff Ward, his teammate, decided not to take tires under that last pit stop. He took fuel. No tires, though. That's why you're seeing him fall deeper through the field. And that's why you're seeing his teammate Mark Kalin ripping through the field and putting the challenge now on Abner Acosta and Jeff Evans, trying to regain essentially where he was before that pit stop.
Yeah, that's a curious call. If I was going to put myself back in the field that early, Joey, I would not want to put myself at a disadvantage by not putting the tires on it. So he's obviously hoping that this stays green and we need tires. And that tire limit comes into play. But hold on, there's a caution. There's the car spun sideways just after the start-finish line. That is, I missed the number on that. I apologize.
Alex Hillman in trouble off of turn 4. That looked like it was developing a little bit earlier. I saw Zachary Burnt very, very high off of turn 1. Got to wonder if that was potentially related. A checkup deeper in the field. Another fairly simple incident. No real damage. Not a lot of trucks involved. But it is still a one-truck spin. Alex Hillman will bring out caution number 2.
Yeah, we'll wait and see what happened and who's maybe involved or not. There's the number 89 behind him. No, actually not a small little boop. I started to say maybe a little contact, but no. Hillman has got it all turned around by himself, it looked like. No contact involved. So it's our second single truck spin. Did you see contact?
I'd like to ride on board with Jeff Ward. It looked close, but it may have been a little bit too close. It may have been a little bit of contact there. An interesting split, though, as we wait for that replay. Andrew Sharp and Ted Lowendick have now decided to split from the rest of their competitors. They're going to come down pit road and put fresh tires on, as are some of the other drivers who had fallen deeper in the order. Jamie Graham, Mike Richter, Nick Hunter. Let's ride on board with Jeff Ward here. Yeah, that looks like a truck hitting the back and starting to turn him a little bit.
Yeah, maybe a little bit. If it was the slightest of bumps. I mean, I've seen much more aggressive hits at Phoenix this week, but you're right. It may have been slight contact, but if it was, but a little bit of help there possible. Let's watch this in real time. Listen in.
Yeah, that's not how a truck looks when it's getting turned on the throttle. I think it started with Alex Hillman getting a little bit loose, but at that point there was contact from the back of Hillman to the front of Ward, and yeah, that's what turned him around there.
All right, well, we'll be under caution for the second time now. I think here for Sharp and for Lowendick, what they're starting to count on, Joey, is maybe more the gas strategy involved here. There's not a world, unless we just yellow about 25 more times, knock on wood, we don't have that anyone stays out on gas the whole ride, right? So now you can start to think, hey, if I pit now, 10 minutes in or wherever you're at, about 10 minutes in, am I good on gas? So I think maybe for Sharp and Lowendick, that's more of the call here. The tires do help, don't get me wrong, but putting some more gas in that tank and having that peace of mind of knowing you're probably good on gas can really help a driver out.
And it'll be a new character out front for this restart. It's been Andrew Sharp on the outside for both of the start and the restart initially. But now it's a driver named Patrick Cowgill who's been desperate to return to victory lane this season, has had sort of an up and down season. But he is very much in contention for the championship and for the championship 4, and imagine how happy he would be if he's the guy who dumps Richard Regan Jr. off the top step and maybe beats a pro to a win as an AM.
Yeah, Patrick told me he likes this track, says he feels comfortable here. He's just nervous because of the season he's had, but he thinks he has the potential and the ability to win here tonight. So this is his best shot so far this season. We'll see what he can make of it.
Start/restart number 3. I have a feeling it's going to look pretty similar to the other two with Richard Regan Jr. in control. He has been the master of restarts, not just this season, but essentially for his entire PRL career. Nobody is able to do the things he's able to do on these restarts, and yet again, it's a jump and about 3 truck lengths pulled out ahead of Bradley Holly. Side by side into turn 1 for the first time, though. It's the two teammates, Holly and Cowgill. A little bit of contact, a little bit of door banging between the pro and AM teammates. Their third teammate, Jeff Evans, looks on behind and hopes they don't take each other out in front of him.
Yeah, I know there's a hockey team here in Phoenix, but that was looking like they were trying out there with a little bit of body check right there in that corner. So everyone got it solved out, though. And I'm hearing calls.
Oh, Hillman again.
That's Hillman. That was burnt on the bottom, I saw. We'll wait to see what started that wreck, but I saw the ending of it, of course. And caution's out now for the third time with about 43 minutes to go on the clock.
Yeah, shortened field. We expected maybe a little bit less drama, but drama breeds drama, and there it is again. Here's Hillman in the 11 into turn 1, clips Andrew Sharp and spins himself around, and poor old Zachary Burnt in the 28. Nowhere to go for him.
Hillman's got in that corner a little hot, and that car started to slide up, and really nothing he could do. You could tell he was trying to hold on to it. But luckily for Andrew Sharp, just a bump there. It didn't get any real effect when Andrew Sharp didn't spin him around or nothing. But we are under caution yet again.
"42 minutes left to go." Thinking about some of those drivers who aren't with us tonight. Thomas Sink not racing with us tonight. He's got to sit out this week, but we know he's watching at home, and he's had some events that he'd like us to talk about, Derek.
Well, I know I want to talk and give a shout out to Tom. Having a hard time this week. Unfortunately, lost a family member this week. Lost his service dog of many years. Had just a sudden medical emergency on Sunday, and really never recovered. So this is Tago. He was Tom's service dog. Just from a Sunday on through a couple days, just couldn't get the medical stuff worked out, and passed away, unfortunately. So Tom said if Tago got one last ride in the patrol car, got draped with the American flag, and his family's still mourning and saying goodbye to a loved one. So I'll tell you, Joey, that's never easy. Just saying any pet is a family member, and it's always hard. And these are those moments when I think the PRL family comes together. There's been a lot of warm wishes for Tom this week, been a lot of thoughts put his way, a lot of just, we're thinking about you, so and I think we both extend the same here from the booth.
Yeah, thinking about Tom, thinking about the Sinks, and thinking that we're looking forward to having Tom back at Auto Club for the championship finale and seeing what he can do when he returns to the community that's all with him here. But we are ready to go racing here once more. Lights are out on the pace car, I believe, this time. And we'll see sort of a repeat of last time. Patrick Cowgill hoping to learn from what Richard Regan Jr. did last time. Bradley Holly hoping to keep him a little bit closer company. I think everybody just hoping we can get into a rhythm here and get racing again.
Hey, big credit to Patrick Cowgill on that restart, Joey. He really survived the aggression from Bradley Holly. He survived that little bit of bump and stayed in the throttle and was confident in his abilities and gets to restart P2 again. So big shout out for Patrick. That was a big moment, I thought, of being able to kind of hold his own and claim his spots. So here we go. Remember, the pace car is going to pull down super early here. And then Richard Regan has said really one of the best, if not the best, in PRL at restarts. We're going to lead the field around here.
We'll ride on board with Bradley Holly for this restart, see what it looks like from his perspective. It's in the purple truck this week. He's got the purple lights behind him. It's ever so fitting. And we'll see how close can he stay to the back bumper of that number 56. Last time around, he was more worried about the trucks behind him. His teammate Jeff Evans was hounding him. His teammate to the outside, Patrick Cowgill, was putting up the fight. Now we get ready for the fourth restart of the night. Let's listen. Was better that time for Brad, and this time he's clear of his teammate Patrick Cowgill. Patrick's not so lucky, though. He's 3 wide with Jeff Evans and Mark Kalin. Differences in momentum means they sort that out, and now Jeff Evans in the 51, deep on the brakes into turn 1, sends it around the outside of Bradley Holly and goes for P2.
Well, the according effect is not something we often talk about outside maybe a Bristol or a Martinsville, but you saw it right there in play, Joey, where one car checked up and sort of started to rock back a little bit, and thought for sure someone was going to get run over in that whole transaction, but no one did. Everyone's still facing forward, and we're still green flag racing here.
Not a great restart for Bradley Holly. Patrick Cowgill now getting to his outside. Mark Kalin, who remember is on fresher tires than anybody here, is the next driver coming up. Brad's in danger of falling out of the top 4. And look who's behind Kalin. Jacob Dunn, who's not on fresh tires, has fired off like a rocket on this restart. He's got his teammate James Morgan to his inside, but both of those guys are looking quick on this restart.
Yeah, Jacob is a great addition and a great member of Tom and Rossi Esports. At times, maybe a little aggressive think if he gets to work that stuff out and kind of learns to be when to pick his spots better, he'll have some better results next year. But doing a great job right now. Got his teammate right behind him, and all is clean so far.
There goes Morgan on those fresh tires, sending it to the inside of his teammate. Has to check up a little bit through the middle of the corner to not get into the side of him. And look who's immediately behind these guys. Remember the first caution of the race? Remember when Daniel Knight crashed into the inside wall, had to sit on pit road, getting about 40 seconds of repairs? Well, he's still got fresh tires on that truck. He's got a fresh truck as well, and he's back in this. He's fighting both of these guys, looking into the top 6.
Yeah, and that's why it's important to stick these things out and not be frustrated by the contact. But see who's falling back there is Abner Acosta a little bit. Got his tires below that yellow line there. And that makes me nervous at Phoenix, Joey, because that will really unsettle the truck if you do that. Watch Abner's yellow trucks run the back of that shot there. That time just barely above that yellow line. But boy, you mentioned Abner Acosta currently below the cut line in the playoffs. And what a story that would be if he misses out.
Yeah, it's not ideal for him right now. The points might look good, or they might look a little bit better at the moment at least, because he is a couple of spots ahead of Ted Lowendick, but Lowendick's on those fresher tires, and Abner just got into the wall off of turn 2. A little bit of a tap's going to scupper his momentum, almost gets into the back of Daniel Knight into turn 1, and he's still losing it, almost gets into the wall off of turn 4. Everybody's getting to the inside Abner. Here comes Schwartz, here comes Ted Lowendick, here comes Panzarella. Abner is not having a good time here.
You know, it makes me wonder, Joey. Obviously, Abner has driven just about everything PRL has offered at one point or another on the oval side. But it makes me wonder if Abner just really isn't having a fun season in the trucks, right? Abner's part of the group that came over from last season's Grand National Series and really, in some ways, you would argue, is not performing at the level that he did last season. And it just makes me wonder if maybe the current model of the truck in iRacing doesn't benefit him. But hold on, come back to that. Caution is out again here at Phoenix.
It's like Zachary Burnt was involved yet again. Caution at the back of the field. Get everybody racked up here and see what happened. There's Burnt in the 28, Tom Macy in the 05. Tom Macy coming down, Burnt staying, holding his line. It's one of those tough things at Phoenix where you've got 17 lanes through the dog leg. Sometimes two trucks just meet in the middle.
Yeah, sometimes you think that driver's going to cut the dog leg, right? And sometimes you're, oh, he's done it before, or he might do it. And you sort of make a prediction and you're wrong. So that's what happened there in that moment. Looks like Burnt just the victim in that moment. Here comes Richard Regan down pit road. He decides he wants new tires, and everyone might be following here.
Jeff Evans is going to stay out. Remember, he pitted under 2 cautions ago, so he's got reasonably fresh tires on that truck. Jamie Graham's going to stay out. Andrew Sharp is going to stay out. And Mike Richter is going to stay out. The vast majority of the field, though, even those that have pitted under a recent caution, like Ted Lowendick, for example, essentially everybody has decided that it's halfway in the race, might as well come down, take some tires, and definitely take some fuel.
Yeah, why not, right? If you want to be symmetrical about it, about the halfway mark is the way to do it, because you sort of think, you know, if we got to the halfway mark, I know how the truck behaved. So I should know how the truck behaves for the second half, you know, an old second verse, same as the first.
But this makes me think, though, about so many times this season when Richard has been in dominant control of a race. He looks like he's going to win it easily, but then just one thing goes wrong. He loses track position. He ends up behind some trucks that are on older tires, and the race just falls apart. I remember Kansas. He looked like he was going to win that race easily, got caught up in traffic. Jeff Ward ended up winning that race. I remember a couple of weeks ago at, I already forget where it was. I think it was at Vegas. He put 2 tires on the truck, lost the race because that was the wrong call. Martinsville, something technical went wrong. Is this going to happen again now that he's starting deeper in the field?
Yeah, I was going to emphasize your point and prove how right you are. Really, it feels like there's 2 Richard Regans. There's Richard Regan out in clean air. That's the dominant Richard Regan. That's the one we all sort of know and have in our heads. And then there's Richard Regan not in clean air. And that Richard Regan at times can struggle a little bit on the track. And I say a little bit because I think, Joey, I don't know how to say this better, but Richard Regan struggling is still a darn good night. You know, it's still probably a top 5 night, but it's still a tough night. I do want to call out Richard, though, and really praise him. Listen, Richard offered on his own to come in last week after his incident and come in an interview. That was his call. He came in, he apologized, owned up for the stuff, and really took the time privately to also go see Bradley Holly and apologize. There's maybe a time in PRL when that would not have been the Richard Regan we knew. And I was extremely proud of Richard last week for stepping up and doing those things without prompting.
And he's got himself a new PC, so maybe it was all worth it. He got an upgrade out of the whole thing.
And I won't say on air how much it was. He told me, let's just say it's a top tier PC. I don't know the specs of it, but based upon the price tag, it better be a top tier PC.
It was at least a couple of Taco Bell meals.
Let's say Minecraft better look really nice on that PC.
I hope so. I hope he's running Minecraft at least like 4p. Give me 4 pixels.
Yeah, right. Well, here we are, about halfway through, as Joey said, and really an interesting race. No long green runs yet, so it's hard to say who really is dominant. That's really a weird word to use, but Jeff Evans is going to control this restart. First time tonight, Joey, a new car controls the field.
And I should say, by the way, it was Homestead where Richard had that 2-tire call that went terribly wrong. Not the most dissimilar track to Phoenix, also not the most similar track either, so there's no real comparison there. But as Derek mentioned, Jeff Evans, a new face to the front of the field, but he's had some good times. When he gets out in the front of the field, if he can be defensive, if he can hold some people back, he's won a couple of races in the PRL that way, and he needs a big night tonight in the playoffs. Currently 7th in the standings, 26 points behind Ted Lowendick. It's certainly possible to point his way into the championship for. It's not likely. He's hunting for a win here. Jamie Graham, having one of his best days, is going to restart to the outside. Green flag flies at Phoenix, and it's a bad restart for one truck in the middle of the bottom row. Stacy Hunter in the 7 is falling down, and look at Richard Regan Jr., the 56 truck, already to the inside of Andrew Sharp, already to the inside of Jamie Graham, the guy who restarted in 6th. He's not going to get 2nd at the moment, but he is already up to 3rd.
And Regan got a great run there because I think Jamie Graham really maybe didn't necessarily make it a point, but definitely did cut off the run that Andrew Sharp had. And it really, I think, hurt them both in the process. But man, Richard Regan is getting darn close to that truck and making me nervous every time.
Nearly 3 wide for the lead there through the dog leg. Regan had a run on the inside. Graham had a run on Evans. And Evans just kind of scuppered his momentum a little bit. And yet again, through 1 and 2, Jeff Evans is off the pace entirely. Jamie Graham in the 6 is going to go to the lead on the inside with Richard Regan Jr. behind him.
Well, not for nothing. Remember, Jeff Evans is not on those new tires. He does not have that tire advantage, and yellow's out again. That's the 31. That is a big moment right there.
Patrick Cowgill, the latest caution. And I'm sure Jeff and Jamie were hoping for that caution to come out about a moment earlier. It would have been nice to hold on to the lead here. But here we go. Cowgill side by side with James Morgan through turns 3 and 4. And all on his lonesome. Loops it around in front of Mark Kalin.
You know, this is so interesting to me watching these trucks loop around on the front straight, Joey, because my experience this week when running some of the iRacing officials is that that's not been the problem spot on the track. So I'm a little perplexed by that as our problem spot. To me, the problem spot all week so far has been the back straight and people maybe getting in the wall out of the corner and really clogging that back straight. But that's what the 3rd or 4th truck we've seen tonight. This kind of get looped either almost all on their own or completely on their own at the start-finish line.
And Patrick's got to be careful. That was one caution fully brought out by himself. If there's another one where he accumulates a caution point, that puts him in danger of having to serve a race ban next week, which could be catastrophic for his championship chances. He's got a margin in the playoffs, but if he's got to sit out next week, that might hurt.
You know, what I began to wonder, Joey, and I don't know if we can go back and watch Cowgill from further before that moment, I'm starting to wonder if this is becoming a symptom of how the drivers are cutting this track. Obviously, there's no track limits here, like in a road course. There's no yellow line rule, so you're not required to stay above that yellow line. I'm starting to wonder if some drivers are cutting that dog leg area and that yellow line area in a weird way that is sort of unsettling the truck. We've not been able to see a full replay of that yet to spot it, but it's such a weird spot to lose the truck. I'm just... And with the temperatures dropping and the nighttime falling, more grip in the track. Watch this here. This is Cowgill side by side, down below the yellow line a little bit.
I think it's just a symptom of getting on the throttle too early. You're still turning at that portion of the corner. It's a very loose setup, as we've seen tonight, and a lot of these truck drivers, they've gotten practice, but still seems like a loose setup is catching a lot of drivers with a lot of experience. off guard.
Well, we had the whole talk about Richard Regan in traffic, Richard Regan not in traffic. Well, that didn't last long. He quickly found his way back to the front here, so he'll lead Jamie Graham, Jeff Evans, Andrew Sharp, and others here through the field. Remember, right now, Regan not locked into the top to the round of 4. Tell me that's the goal tonight. He doesn't want to have to worry about racing his way in or winning next week to guarantee a spot. He would love just to go ahead and do it tonight, just be done with it. He said, though, what I find funny in Richard Regan terms, Joey, I'm hit or miss at Phoenix. And I thought, Richard Regan's hit or miss is still probably a good night.
Yeah, average finish. He has only done 2 truck races here, but average finish of 4. That's not half bad. Also, the defending winner in terms of a unified truck series, the last driver in this field to win at Phoenix was Richard Regan Jr. So hit or miss, it's been mostly hit for him. And the team standings, by the way, you see on the side of your screen, it's a good day for Bluegrass Motorsports. They're passing Whataback TNT, and they're getting within 50 points of Whataback Overdrive. That's not an insurmountable margin with how fast Mark Kalin and Jeff Ward have been this season. The fact that they got a 1-2 at Martinsville last week, and the fact that both of them right now are deeper in the field than they likely will be since they're on fresh tires, could be a big day for Bluegrass Motorsports. But we're ready to go racing yet again. Richard Regan Jr. has a little bit of a buffer now. He's got 2 trucks in Jamie Graham and Jeff Evans behind him that are on older tires. Then he's got the challengers, Bradley Holly, a little bit deeper in the order. Abner Acosta outside of the top 10 now. Half the race left to go, and it's another good restart for Regan, leaving them all in the dust. Andrew Sharp is going to make it 3 wide with his AM rival Jamie Graham. Jeff Evans is going to swoop both of them up and take P2.
Wow, look at that. Holly now to the bottom of that corner, now making it 3 wide for himself and Graham and Sharp. And I thought they made contact, but they must have sorted it out. But, ooh, look at that slide from Holly. That was slick.
And that was almost 4 wide off the corner with Kalin and Richter and the 2 Tabula Rasa trucks. They were able to resolve that, but this is getting absolutely hectic in the middle of the field. The 184 truck of Bradley Holly does not want to be here. And he's got a bunch of trucks with old tires in front of him, behind him. They're everywhere. He's in a cloud of trucks that he just wants to run away from.
Just wants to get away. Remember, Bradley right now also racing on the pro side for that playoff push. Would love to get his win and lock in tonight, but right now he's got a moving blockade in front and behind him of trucks that are sort of blocking that path between him and Richard Regan. Here he's going to cut the dog leg, going to try to get down below, but doesn't matter because now we have another caution, and it's one of the Tabula Rasa trucks.
Looked like James was going to keep it pointed straight, but unfortunately, the final stage of deceleration ended up turning him around, and he parks it in the dog leg to bring out yet another caution. They're all starting to add up. It's all starting to look good for Richard Regan Jr. The way these cautions have flown, the way he was able to move his way forward through the field, it's gone his way. But there it is. Everybody's favorite corner, exact same thing. Morgan gets on the throttle and just loses it off of turn 4.
I would, and I know I'm calling for this live, that's not fair. If we could maybe do an onboard with Morgan coming out of that corner, I want to hear what happens to RPMs. Hold on. It's funny, like it's obviously happening, Joey, but when you see that happen from a visual point, at least from my thought was, I sort of expected to hear the engine wind up a lot more. I sort of expected to hear like a big stomp on the pedal, maybe indicating someone was being too aggressive, but that was just the truck being loose.
It's just a super loose setup, and seems about half the field, unfortunately, was not quite ready for that. Maybe it's gotten worse as the sun has gone down, but yeah, we've just seen that so many times with the wheel still turned about 45 degrees to the left, getting the throttle on. It's not been good for the majority of the field. I expect we'll see him down pit road. Yes, we do. Daniel Knight is down pit road again as well. Other than that, everybody's going to stay out. We're going to re-rack them, and we'll try and go racing and try and get a run going here in a couple of moments.
Well, the good news right now is for Andrew Sharp. Andrew's outperforming. He thought maybe at best he would be a top 10 here. So he had a lot of concerns this week, hasn't really been able to get a good, long, clean run in. Well, that's not the case tonight, except his not clean runs have involved him being involved in wrecks in some of the official races. So he was kind of concerned what would come of this race. Currently he sits P3, but right now, Joey, I think those restarts are going to be more and more like the one we just saw. As we keep wrecking here and we keep spinning trucks around, everyone's going to feel that need to go. Everyone's going to feel the need to make it happen and make it happen fast. Or what's that ad read? Learn how to be fast. Well, if there's a caution every few minutes, you have to do that here at Phoenix.
And also, talking about Andrew Sharp's rivals, look where his championship rivals are. Andrew's in 3rd. Patrick Cowgill is 16th. Zach Panzarella is 18th. Nicholas Schwartz is outside of the top 20 now, bringing that truck down pit road again.
Yeah, Nicholas Hunter back in 15. Brett Adams not here. So this is a big night. Even if not an AM win for Andrew Sharp, which, who knows what may happen, this is a good points night.
And this has happened so many times this season for him. He's come to a track, he's maybe been slow in qualifying, he's maybe had struggles in practice, he said it's not going to be a good week for him, and then all of his rivals end up getting into trouble one way or another. He has a totally clean day, and he ends up outscoring him. That's why he's got a 30-point margin in the AM Championship right now. He just seems to be able to stay out of trouble.
And to come back to the point you made, the consistency, that's what it is, right? You hit on James Morgan earlier, and it's the same story. James sort of has quietly put himself into the top 8 in the playoffs by just being consistent. He's not someone that I think we often see a lot of at the front of the field, but whenever you and I read the results into the race, Morgan seems to be there. Andrew Sharp also just seems to be there. Maybe he doesn't win every week. He only has 2 wins this year in the trucks, but he's always involved in the battles when they matter.
Racking them up yet again. 22 minutes or so left on the clock, probably around 21 minutes when we go green yet again. Do some math in my head. If we do go green all the way to the end of the race, that'll be a nice 45 lap run or so. I think we'd all like to see that. Wouldn't that be nice? Get some tire fall off, get some changes in strategy. We'll see what happens. But for now, Richard Regan Jr. still in the best position of anybody. Just a little bit of a recap on tire strategies, by the way. Richard is on 15 lap old tires right now. Essentially 3 lap old tires because we've run all these laps under caution. Jeff Evans on 41 lap old tires. Sharp, Graham, and Richter on 31 lap old tires. Everybody else is on those same 15 lap old tires or younger. So let's see. Has anything changed this time? Richard Regan Jr., look for the burst, look for the speed, and look for about 5 truck lengths here in a couple of moments. There it is, exactly the same. Sharp caught napping, can't get it going. Jeff Evans is going to chop him off, and Bradley Holly getting all sorts of loose through the dogleg in the purple 184. He almost lost it with a little bit of a hip check with Jamie Graham. He'll be 3 wide now for 4th through turn 1.
Yeah, stop if you heard that before. 3 wide through the turns for Bradley Holly on the bottom. Gets it back out to 2 wide. Now wants to get through this field fast here. Watch him. He's going to ride that bottom, keep on that yellow lane. We'll keep an eye on the front start-finish line here, see if it kind of creeps up. Everyone seems to be good through the field this time by.
Dunn, Ward, and Richter, the latest instance of 3 wide. Ward below the yellow line gets a little bit loose, still getting loose through turn 2. He's dirt tracking that truck, but he's making it work. Hasn't got the spot on Dunn, but he does have slightly fresher rubber, I believe. He's got much fresher rubber than Mike Richter. He should be able to clear him, but he doesn't. He gets loose again off of turn 2. Ward's having so much trouble on these fresh tires.
Yeah, Jeff Ward's pitted on the same lap as Bradley Holly and Richard Regan.
Oh.
I believe, whoa, my gosh, look at that truck climb the hill. That must have been a scary ride.
It was a slide job, I don't think entirely intentional, and it didn't even work. He's still behind Mike Richter as he tried to slide him through turns 1 and 2. And this time, through turns 3 and 4, he's stuck behind Richter, and his teammate Mark Kalen's going to get to his outside. His sort of pseudo-teammate Ted Lowendick on Whataback is going to get to his inside as well. Kalen's in the wall entering turn 1. He's not going to get that spot, and Ted Lowendick is looking to pick up 2 for 1.
And I do want to quickly point out, you mentioned that Bluegrass Motorsports needed to have a great night. Well, here you are, both of them right now up in that battle. Mark Kalen P10, Jeff Ward P8. That's how you make up those points in a points championship.
Oh, Jacob Dunn getting loose in the 3. Mark Kalen getting loose up top. These trucks are all over the place here. Look at Jeff Ward now trying to go to the top to get around Richter. Kalen ripping the high top. We already knew Phoenix had about 17 grooves. We're unlocking like 10 more.
Yeah, the problem is not how many grooves there are. That's the fun part. The unfun part is we need to come back together in the corner and find spots. But here we are, yellow flag again. That's the 17.
Caution number 2 for Daniel Knight. You better hope he wasn't at fault, or else that might be nap time for him next week. Caution flies yet again. We expected that to happen, I think, in the epicenter of the field in this battle from 4th to about 10th, but it wasn't. It was Knight into turn 1. Dalton Geyer behind him. Wasn't Daniel Knight on his own. He got a tag from Geyer.
He certainly did. Watch this here. They're going to come down the back straight here. And watch right here. Just, I think maybe Knight checks up a bit before Geyer thought he was, and then right there, that's what happens. So this will not be on Daniel Knight. Good news for him.
Oh, and Geyer got lucky not to get collected by the truck he dumped. Look at him come back, just barely avoiding the back of Geyer.
Yeah, barely avoiding indeed. And luckily for, it was Nicholas Hunter, the guy saw on the bottom. That truck went up to the top. My goodness, hit hard on the inside wall. You saw that Daniel just went ahead and parked it and towed it off to pit road instantly right there. Well, pit stops are underway for a lot of drivers. Let's see, I got Lowendick, Acosta, Bradley Holly, Dalton Geyer, Jamie Graham.
Everybody from 12th back.
Ward.
Everybody from 12th back. It's a half and half again. So many, I don't know how it's even mathematically possible. About every pit cycle we've had today, nobody's been on the same page.
This one has me confused, Joey, and purely from a standpoint of the trend of the race. If this thing keeps yellowing, it's hard to think that those gentlemen who just pitted would have enough opportunity to really make their way back through the field and make any use of those, new tires and everything. But hey, if it goes green, maybe it works out. Here you see right there on the left side of your screen, there's, I think, laps since we last pitted, or stint as we call it here at RaceSpot. So you see all the different strategies playing out. But I like the call if it was going to stay green, but so far that's not what the race trend is showing us.
Yeah, I have no idea who is going to finish in the top 10 here. Remember a couple of moments ago, before the last restart, I mentioned how Andrew Sharp was destroying his AM rivals. He was 3rd. His rivals were all deep in the teens. Well, Patrick Cowgill has gone from about 16th to 5th. Zach Panzarella has gone from 18th to 6th. Nicholas Schwartz has gone from 21st to 10th. James Morgan brought out the caution a couple of moments ago. He was all the way at the back of the field. Zachary Burt brought out the caution a couple of cautions ago. He was all at the back of the field. Not only is the grid shuffled, so many drivers who have been at the back of the field today are somehow back in the top 10 with how this tire strategy is flipped totally upside down.
Yeah, some of that will be benefiting from the drivers who pitted. That'll put them these drivers further up front, and we'll see what that does. Here, by the way, is positions gained and lost since the start of the race. You'll see everyone here. Jacob Dunn's up a bunch of spots. Mark Kalen's up 1. Panzarella's up 2. James Morgan's up 9. Look at that. Nicholas Schwartz, by the way, up 14 right now, sitting there in P10.
Be a big day from him if he can hang on to this. Won at Martinsville last week to take his first PRL Oval win. Kind of putting himself in the conversation as an outside championship contender. He's not fighting for the playoff championship, wasn't around earlier this year to accumulate the races necessary to qualify for the playoffs, but he is a 2024 Season 4 driver all the same, and this could be another big day for him. It's a lot of uncertainty, though. The top 10 drivers, all on old tires. How much older are they, though? We haven't gone green for that many laps. Everybody behind them is on the freshest tires possible. They pitted under this last caution, led by Jeff Evans in 11th. Everybody behind him is on fresh rubber. They're all going to meet in the middle. We're going to do this yet again. And Richard Regan Jr. is going to hope to run away from it all. Run away from Dunn. Run away from Sharp. Run away from Kalen. It's just getting antsy. Everybody's getting antsy here. But yet again, with 14 minutes to go, we're green, and Zachary Burt doesn't get it going.
Neither did Jacob Dunn. Jacob Dunn really didn't get it moving up there in that 3 truck. Got a little bump from Mark Kalen saying, hey, let's just move.
And they're wrecking already. Nick Schwartz is around in turn 1.
Abner Acosta involved, I believe, as well. Sorry to cut you off.
Yeah. All started with a checkup by Zachary Burnt on the restart. They were about 7 wide through the dog leg. And that doesn't really work when everybody ends up merging again to enter into turn 1. There's Burnt, there's Schwartz, there's Acosta. And Schwartz ends up on the nose of Acosta, and then nose and rear into the wall in turn 1.
Yeah, that's what happens here. That was maybe our quickest caution of the night, and certainly our craziest one.
At least we didn't get our hopes up.
No, not really. So I want to make a mental note here. The caution fell at about the 14-minute mark. I want to time this out, Joey, to see how many more of these we think we can do when all is said and done. Let's watch this replay, though. There's burnt and the green and yellow. Here's the restart. You're right. Maybe he missed a gear or something. Never really got moving. There's 4 wide, almost 5 wide. And he's going to come up and tap Schwartz and send Schwartz up the hill.
Very, very unfortunate stuff. You saw one truck, I think, coming down pit road as the caution came out. That was Jeff Ward. That is not allowed, so he's going to get an end-of-line penalty for that. Stacy Hunter and Abner Acosta now down pit road to get some damage repaired. They are allowed to do that. They'll also end up at the back of the field, though. So yeah, that's the way that went. Only a couple cautions possibly left to go, so let's keep track of things while we can. Remember, Jeff Evans restarted in 11th. He's up 3 spots. He's up to 8th. Bradley Holly up a couple of spots since the restart as well. Ted Lowendick is on fresh tires as well. They're not that far away from Richard Regan Jr. They only have a couple of spots to make up. It's just a question of whether we'll get a green flag run of 15 to 20 laps for them to actually do anything with them.
It is the question at this point, if we can get a green flag run of like 5 laps, and 15 or 20 might be overshooting the goal here. Let's start smaller and work our way up. It really has been a caution-filled night, and I know that was really the talk of the night, both sides of the drivers. You know, talked to drivers who were very concerned or almost predicted this kind of night when we talked about it. So there's those people, like Andrew Sharp, who said, hey, this could be what it is. You know, there was people like Jeff Evans who said, I think this race is going to go green tonight. I think we have a long green flag run in us. And I kind of questioned him, are you sure? He goes, yeah, I think we'll be fine. So I don't know. Yeah, I'm sure after this race, he'll think differently about that comment. But Joey, you know, thinking about this track for a moment, this track really has gone through a couple changes. I mean, I guess more than a couple changes over the past years. The front straight's now the back straight. We've done a name change here from Phoenix to ISM, back to Phoenix. At one point, what's now the front straight had this weird little dip up at the top of it, like a protruding wall that stuck out that's been removed. This track's gone through a lot of changes in the past 20 years, and really at times can produce amazing racing at this facility.
And don't forget about Jeff Gordon Raceway as well. It was Jeff Gordon Raceway for one day.
I did not know that, actually.
I think it was because it was his last race when he came back and he filled in for Dale Jr. when he was concussed. They renamed it Jeff Gordon Raceway for 1 week.
And by the way, a weird feature about this track we don't often see, I think at least on the broadcast, that I love, the tower for Barney the Flagman. That is a cactus.
Yeah.
That changes colors. There it is. When the
Good
caution
stuff.
was for a moment. They did that just to mess with me, I think.
They're saving energy. Yeah, we haven't seen it. We haven't seen a green cactus much. It's been a very dehydrated cactus. It's been yellow all day. Somebody water it.
Well, I don't know how to touch. I can't even touch that comment right now.
Get the watering can out there.
It's the desert. Nothing gets watered out here, Joey.
That's true. Well, we've had droughts everywhere in the country. We got a drought in New York and Connecticut right now. How does that make any sense?
Have a drought of green flag laps is what we got.
That is true. Hopefully the monsoon is coming. Hopefully 10 minutes of green flag racing is incoming here. See a lot of trucks single file at the back of the field. That's because there were a lot of trucks that came in under caution. There were a couple trucks that came in illegally that weren't allowed to pit right when the caution came out. But Richard Regan Jr., he's probably laughing right now. He likes green flag racing. He'd like to do it, but he's leading these laps all the same, and he's comfortably in the lead. But yet again, we go green, and yet again, they're fanning out 3 wide. Mark Kalin needs to make moves early if he wants to look for this win. He's to the inside of Ward. He's to the inside of Dunn and Sharp. Mark Kalin has a nose ahead for second. It's 3 wide off the exit of the corner, though. Dunn and Sharp nearly coming together. Mike Richter's in the wall. Still pointed straight, though. No caution's going to fly as Richter and Burnt are both pointed straight. We've avoided the caution this time. They did wreck again. They're still pointed straight, though.
There's Patrick Cowgill now dipping below James Morgan, trying to make up a bunch of spots. Look at that 3 wide, very close together. No one down in the dog leg, and they're going to survive.
3 by 3, and those 3 trucks that are side by side, Evans, Lowendick, and Holly, those are the first 3 trucks on fresh tires. They need to be moving forward, and what a move from Jeff Evans there, and the magenta number 51 had an inch ahead of his teammate Ted Lowendick and took it to clear him. He'll get to the outside of Patrick Cowgill now, and look at Jeff Evans leading the charge on those fresh tires. Not for long, though. The caution flies eventually. Not sure who it was. Looks like it was deeper in the field, though.
Yep, there's the yellow cactus.
Jamie Graham.
Jamie Graham has had an interesting season. Maybe not for the best of reasons, but we'll wait and see what happens here. And, of course, I know right now the admins are trying to coach the driver, say, hey, guys, let's clean this up a little bit. But I think we're a little late in the session for a little bit of coaching.
I'll get one more restart.
Now, one more to go here. Let's watch this Jamie Graham all-by. That's even earlier than normal. There it is, just up through the corner. Spins about to start finish, and man, throttle control seems to be the theme of the night here at Phoenix Raceway.
Yeah, lack of, I guess we can say. But these cautions have been
right?
Yeah, these cautions have been taking about 5 minutes or so we should go green with, say, about 2 minutes 30 or so. It's about a 5-lap run. Possibility to make some moves if you can get a good restart, but things are looking very, very good for Richard Regan Jr.
And you're right, it's sort of weird. I hadn't really thought about what you said till you said it, but Richard Regan's one of the biggest proponents of green flag racing. He loves it. He loves getting out of here and showing off his craft and proving what he can do. But hey, listen, right now for your Richard Regan, a win is a win. If you're Andrew Sharp, a win is a win on the M side. Both these guys could possibly lock in to their playoffs right now if this stays the way it is. But you got Jacob Dunn in third. He is not a playoff driver. James Morgan in P4 is a playoff driver, by the way. He is trying to lock in, and right now is on the outside looking in, as is Jeff Evans in P7.
And this is a big turnaround for Richard. Not only is this a win, not only is this going to lock him into the championship 4, but his championship rival in the season, Bradley Holly, is 9 spots behind him. Look at that. It's a 16-point margin that he might pull today if they finish as they are.
Yeah, and remember, those are the live standings, by the way, for the season 4 points. That's a little different than the playoffs. I know we're talking multiple points, but it's a cool feature we got here on RaceSpot where we can see the live standings for the season. See, Mark Kalen's up a spot right there. Patrick Cowgill is up there in P10. This is overall combined between the two, by the way. So you'll see some different drivers involved here, but a great run overall. Man, every time we watch these restarts, though, I just continue to be impressed by Richard Regan. I know earlier you called him the king of restarts, and he is. It's just incredible to watch him jump these starts and pull those leads. And then he gets that big grin because after that, it's just a battle side by side behind him, which lets him pull away.
And the points gap between Whataback Overdrive and Bluegrass, it was about 50 points earlier tonight. It's now only 40 points. With 2 races to go after tonight, that might be surmountable. We'll see. We'll see how this develops. Still lots of racing to go, and still lots of points that can be gained and lost here. The field has flipped and flopped, and probably, I think every single driver in this field has been in the top 10 at some point tonight. It's just a question of who's going to be there when the race actually finishes. Yeah,
it does feel that way, doesn't it? Like everyone's been everywhere. And really, the only thing consistent for the most part has been Richard Regan, minus that one pit stop. He's led the race, but behind him, it's been pure chaos. Well, Joey, here we are. Thanks, everyone, for watching us here on RaceSpotTV. We're not done. As you see, the lights are out. We're 1 to go here. And I know there's racing tomorrow night with the GTPs and the GT3s here live on RaceSpotTV. Next week, you and I will be back for the penultimate race that decides the final 4 in the playoffs. And there's that Gummy Clusters car. Beautiful look at that. Joey, here we go. About 4 minutes to go. This is the last restart of the night.
Gonna restart with about 4 minutes to go. If we get an instant caution, I think based on how this has gone, we might get one more restart. But if it happens after about a lap or so, we are totally and truly done. But if we go green, that could be 8 or 9 laps of racing that's going to decide this race. Richard Regan Jr. and the 6 drivers behind him on old tires, Ted Lowendick and all the drivers behind him on fresh tires. It's Let's let Richard Regan Jr. do the talking. There he goes yet again, pulling off a gap. Patrick Cowgill 3 wide with James Morgan and Jeff Evans behind. Cowgill can't get going. He's slow. Not sure what happened to him. They're wrecking immediately into turn 1. There's about 4 different trucks involved.
They're on the track. We're going to keep green.
That's right. That's exactly right. Nick Hunter does drive back on the track. Caution's not going to come out, though, as he did keep it pointed straight. And this has been good news for some of those fresh tire runners. Look at Jeff Evans. He's up to P5. All he's got to do is clear Kalen, clear Dunn, and clear Sharp. And he's got a clear point forward at his rival, Richard Regan Jr. I think Evans had a little bit of trouble coming off of turn 2 there. There's the crash that happened. Shocking that a caution didn't come out, but it was all off the racing surface. That won't affect anything. This is the race for second and potentially the race for the lead if Evans can get clear.
Right now it's the race for the AM lead is what it is. As it's going on right now, it's Andrew Sharp, who is your AM leader currently, and he is behind Richard Regan Jr. But look at Dunn's trying to cut the dog leg, and you see Mark Kalen's up there, Jeff Evans. Everyone wants a piece of this action.
Kalen won his first truck race last week. It's a shocking statement. He's been in 118 of them before. Took him until last week to finally win one of them. Is it possible that he can steal this one? He's got a second to make up, and that's going to be a tough ask. Evans gets into the back of Dunn, and Dunn takes Kalen out as well. That's going to be the final caution. Mike Toomer Jr. involved as well, but that will be the end of the race as Jeff Evans and Jacob Dunn come together. Checkered flag will fly with the caution flag in about 2 minutes' time.
Boy, oh boy, there's James Morgan, his teammate up in third. That'll be a good run. But that truck of Jacob Dunn had been kind of wrecking loose. Watch this here. See loose right there in front of Jeff Evans. Got it. And
got a tap from Jeff. Got loose again.
It is.
Tried to save it. Got into Mark and Mike Toomer. Just somehow involved, but actually he's going to regain his top 10. So despite being involved in the caution, despite damaging that truck, Mike Toomer Jr. is somehow going to get a top 10 out of that.
And listen, if you're Jeff Evans in that moment, I don't know what you're supposed to do besides stand. I mean, obviously you don't want to run someone over. That wasn't his goal. But when we're down to like 2 minutes to go and there's a car loose in front of you, all you can do is kind of stay in the gas. You're racing for something here. You're out of the playoffs currently. Watch this here. Oh, maybe that bump got done loose, actually.
Yeah, he was slow, but I think when they look upon that caution after the race, when they review it, there was only one truck that was, I think, at fault for that, and that was the truck that rammed into the back of the truck in front. But Jeff does get to retake his spot. He is going to finish P5, so it's not going to be the worst thing in the world. Jacob Dunn, not quite so lucky. He's going to fall in the back of the field.
Developing story, we're being told now Patrick Cowgill has a shifter problem in his rig, and that is what led to him not moving. He could not get that car moved through the gears, and yeah, so that's why he didn't move, and that's what caused it. I'm with you though. Like, I know I kind of yelled out, and this is the way I think it's hard to explain to viewers who maybe don't do iRacing. Anything below that yellow line is considered off track, technically, even though we use it as track here at Phoenix. But if a red cap is down there, it could be not a caution because it's off the racing surface. But you're right, that was a massive pileup. I would have thought for sure, looking at live, that would have been a yellow.
Going to take the white flag here, if I'm not mistaken, as we are below 27 seconds, below the expected lap time. And Richard Regan Jr., he had a couple of down moments today, and those only down moments were when he decided to pit for tires before anybody else. He ended up back in the lead, and now gets a little bit of a victory lap. He's going to win in about a mile's time. And a story for Andrew Sharp as well in second. Started second, said he was going to have a bad week this week, and yet again, he's going to show up the majority of the pro field.
And by the way, started second by 100th of a second.
Yeah.
Started second by 0.01 seconds off of Richard Regan on the pole. So if that's a bad week, oh man, the good weeks must be good.
It's going to be a big week in so many aspects for Richard Regan Jr. He had the worst possible week at Martinsville last week. A technical failure while leading the race comfortably. Ended with a DNF for him. Got the PC replaced. He's racing on a new rig. but it's been the same old Richard Regan Jr. Put it on pole for the 6th time in 7 races this season, and now he's going to lock himself into the championship 4. The defending Grand National champion is going to go for 2 playoff championships in a row. Richard Regan Jr. wins at Phoenix, and Andrew Sharp in the AM category wins as well. He's going to Phoenix in the AM division.
There you go. 2 drivers locked in, so there'll be less spots available next week. We now know 2 spots are claimed here, I believe, on the pro side. 1 spot claimed on the AM side. We'll have to wait and see how it plays out next week at Kentucky Speedway.
Mark Kalin and Richard Regan Jr., your first 2 drivers locked in. That means that next week, it's going to be Bradley Holly, Ted Lowendick, Abner Acosta, James Morgan, and Jeff Evans. 5 drivers battling for 2 spots in the championship 4. And these are going to be some deserved donuts for Richard. It's been maybe the biggest up and down he's had in a while. It wasn't his fault last week. Nothing he could have done. It was all his computer, but still didn't feel so good about it. Still had a bad result, and he's come back in literally the best way possible.
Yeah, there it is. Great job, Richard Regan. Just what a comeback story, as you said here. You got those incredible sponsors on the truck, and always one of the best at branding here in the league. We'll talk to him in a little bit. Also, congrats to Andrew Sharp, as you said, going to be the winner on the AM side. There's going to be a lot of point shake-up after tonight, Joey. I'm excited to see how this turns out, because I think next week is going to be quite the battle for the playoff drivers.
And those 3 drivers who are close to taking that final spot in the championship 4, James Morgan, Ted Lowendick, and Abner Acosta, look at them in the order. Very, very close. We'll keep talking about that next week. But Richard Regan Jr. was your victor tonight. Andrew Sharp, your victor in the AM class. James Morgan, sort of an underdog race, spun to bring out a caution in the middle of the race, still managed to finish 3rd. That tells you the story of the day. Ted Lowendick was 4th. Jeff Evans was 5th despite that late caution, and Bradley Holly, championship contender, was P6. Zach Panzarella, 2nd in AM. Abner Acosta and Mark Kalin were up and down. They finished 8th and 9th. And Mike Toomer Jr. also gets his spot back and finishes 3rd, a podium in the AM category. Dustin Bumgarner, 11th, and Jeff Ward, 12th. Not the day that either of them wanted. Bumgarner, a good comeback. Jeff Ward wishing for much more. Schwartz, defending AM winner, was 13th. Richter, Graham, Hunter, Macy, Burnt, and Cowgill all ran into assorted amounts of trouble and shuffled their way through the AM field. Jacob Dunn, a troubled final restart, drops him to 20th. Nick Hunter, 21st as well. Dalton Geyer, 2 laps down. He brought out a caution today. He'll be in trouble for that. And Daniel Knight, Austin Hunter, and Alex Hillman, all the used truck lot, brought out cautions, got damage on their trucks, and they will be not so happy with the way Phoenix went tonight. But we've got drivers to talk to. We've got the rise of the Phoenix. He's driving to victory lane. Hopefully somebody turns some lights on there. Richard Regan Jr., what a way to come back. You got the new PC, you put it on pole, and you seem pretty much untouchable tonight. You're the restart master yet again.
Yeah, thank you. Sucks that we had a lot of cautions, because going into the night, I didn't think my short run pace was that great, but obviously with all the cautions, it got better throughout the night. But I knew I would be really strong on the long run, and I was hoping we get a couple long runs in there, but unfortunately we couldn't. And it's just nice to be able to get the momentum back that we lost after the hardware failure last week, and now we're locked into the championship race, so I can start focusing on that.
Yeah, you're locked into the championship 4. You've got double-digit lead over Brad now, as he was a little bit deeper in the order. Do you tackle Kentucky next week any differently, or do you put your focus on Auto Club? How do the next 2 weeks look?
Yeah, I mean, I've been practicing for Auto Club for a couple of weeks now, so I think mostly the rest of this week and next week I'll mainly practice Auto Club, and I probably won't touch Kentucky until the night of the race.
Well, Richard, congrats on win number 81 in the PRL. You're tied with Abner now. We'll see you next week to see if you can jump him for second.
Thank you. I'd like to give a shout out to everybody at Regenboog Motorsports. Shout out to Reesboog on the box again tonight. Mission 22, it's Veterans Day on Monday. 22 vets a day commit suicide, so we're trying to raise awareness to get them the help that they deserve. State Analyzer, 44 Ever, Neonism Paints, Multiple Sclerosis Society, JZ Photography, everybody at PRL, and you guys at RaceSpot.
Richard Regan Jr. victorious at Phoenix tonight. Great comeback from him. And Andrew Sharp also started where he started, and he's going to be your AM winner tonight. Andrew, it looks on paper like a boring day. You started second, you finished second, but there was a lot of movement between those 2 seconds.
Yeah, that was certainly a race that happened. I'm very happy with the race pace. My restarts were garbage, but happy with the result, obviously.
And you had qualifying pace too. You were 100th off Richard Regan Jr. in qualifying. You almost knocked him off pole. How good did that feel, at least?
So ridiculous. Yeah, he's so fast. So to even be that close is really good. Shows some improvement over the past couple weeks. So yeah, close. I'll try to get it before the end of the season.
We wish you good luck. You got a big margin in the AM Championship now. We'll see you in Kentucky next week with 2 races to go.
Sounds good. Enjoy the rest of your night, fellas.
Add another AM win to the Andrew Sharp tally. He goes home happy. The driver who's going home very happy, up 13 spots from his starting position, 3rd overall. James Morgan is with Derek.
Well, James, tonight you really made a big move in the playoff points. How does it feel to come out of here P3?
It feels really good to come out of here P3 overall. Unfortunately, it seems like a lot of the guys that I was racing just ended up finishing right behind me, so I don't feel like I gained a whole lot of ground. Plus, I self-spun, so that'll hurt me a little bit too. Especially going next week. It looks like Kentucky's probably going to be a must-win, so go there and try and figure out exactly how to do that.
So I guess I can ask you, since you were one of the numerous victims of the self-spin at the start-finish line, what's happening there? I mean, obviously, the race is over, so it's a little of a moot point, but is it just a slick track? Was it getting onto gas too soon? What's going on there at that part of the track?
So it was a little bit loose on the exit of both corners. And I honestly think I just had too much wheel in it at that point in time. I don't feel like I over throttled the other laps that I was using. I think I just had too much wheel in it, trying to watch and protect the bottom and just self-spun it. That's really what happened there.
Gotcha. Well, listen, great run tonight, P3. We'll see you next week at Kentucky and see if you can make the playoffs.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, guys. Want to give a shout out to Tabula Rasa Esports and everyone at RaceSpot and PRL. Everyone does a great job putting on this every week. Appreciate you guys.
All right. Thanks, James. We'll see you soon.
Exciting times. James Morgan 3rd, and similarly exciting times for the driver behind him, coming home 3rd in pro, 4th overall. Ted Lowendick, 4th 2 weeks in a row. And I feel like you might have been one of the only trucks tonight that didn't get involved in a crash of some sort. How did you pull that off?
I don't know. Just good reaction skills, I guess.
That's good stuff.
I mean, I'll take a 4th place. That was kind of wild with all the different tire strategies. You didn't know how it was going to play out with all the cautions. We didn't know how long we were going to be able to utilize the tires that we had. So, yeah, it was a fun one, and also not a fun one. So.
And now, just to be thematic, I have a bag of Nerds gummy clusters here. I'm going to put one in my mouth.
Boy.
I'm going to be actively chewing it as I ask you this next question. So there's 2 races left. This is a bad idea. I don't know why I did this. You're on the outside looking in now, I believe, in the playoffs, but you're still very close to the championship 4. You think you're going to make it? How's Kentucky going to go?
I'm going to have to practice because I don't think I've ran well there. If I compare myself to Brad and Abner and whoever's close to me I just can't figure out Kentucky, which is sad because I'm in Ohio and right next door to it. So,
Exactly.
I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I have a 2-month-old kid now, so I can't practice as much. Kind of, you hear the rumors. It's true. You don't get to practice as much, but he's doing well. My wife's doing well, and yeah.
That's what's important, I suppose. And the gummy clusters are doing well as well.
Oh, they're great. They've come out with a Christmas flavor. So if you are listening and you've never had a gummy cluster, no, I'm not sponsored, but I highly suggest you go out, grab a bag, give them a try. It's an amazing little snack. It has revived the whole Nerds
Maybe
brand.
in the future. Theodore Lowendick, the middle, not the senior, not the junior, the middle, coming home 4th tonight. See Ted next week. And it is sort of home racing. Kentucky. Got to go a little bit deeper in the order now. We've got 2nd in the AM category. Zach Panzarella finished 7th overall, and he's with Derek.
Well, Zach, what a crazy, wild, caution-filled night this was. We didn't really see you involved in anything. We saw you a little bit of back-end damage at the start, but how did you manage to stay mostly clean?
Yeah, crazy and wild that's a word. Good to talk to you guys again. Been a rough season. I don't know. I'm gonna try to bite my tongue a little bit here. But yeah, it's like the 5th week in a row I've gotten damage under caution, which is, I think, part of the reason why you haven't seen a ton of me up front. And yeah, just I just think a lot of people being, I'm sure you've heard the word impatience brought up. And a lot of really, really challenging tracks that we've been going to. Martinsville is obviously one, and I think Phoenix is one that people kind of don't give it the respect it deserves. And I think we may have seen a little bit of that today.
Well, right now, of course, you're battling for the AM playoff spots, and after tonight's results, we'll see where all the points lay out. But are you going to go to Kentucky just wanting to still lock in the win? Are you trying to points race it? What's going to be the goal?
I kind of wanted to use today as really, I mean, obviously that race was going to guide me to that decision, right? I really wanted to win today. I knew I had the speed to win AM. Andrew Sharp is obviously insane, and that qualifying lap he put down didn't give me a ton of confidence, but I had so much speed in practice, so much speed all week. Felt a ton of confidence going to this one. Once I had some shenanigans happen that caused me damage, I kind of made this into a points race for myself. I didn't expect to be able to get up to 2nd AM and 7th place overall in the race. So with Brett not here today, and none of the bottom 4 guys getting the win, I really just wanted it to be, the big 4. I wanted it to be one of me, Andrew, Brett, or Patrick, who got the win in these 3 races. So honestly, I think I'm looking pretty good. I've never been in the Final 4 in PRL, and I'd really just love to do that. That's an accomplishment in its own. So as much as I love Kentucky, and I know I'm going to be quick, I just got to finish that race right, finish in the top 15.
All right. Well, listen, we'll wait and see how the points work out, and we'll see you next week at Kentucky, and we'll see if you can lock your way into your first Final 4.
Yeah, thank you guys, and I hope so. Thank you, Team DDI, friends, family, fiance. Thank you guys so much at RaceSpot. Joey and Derek, you guys are doing a killer job in the booth this year. It's so cool having what I told Derek earlier. It's like the all-star team having you two together. So been awesome to see, and shout out this league, and we'll put on a good show for you guys soon, I promise. But yeah, have a great night, everyone. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Zach.
That was Mr. Zach Panzarella coming home 2nd, and we got one more driver waiting to talk to us. He's got to keep his 3rd at the end of it all. 10th overall was Mike Toomer Jr., and he's with Derek as well.
Well, Mike, we saw you involved in, I think, in one of the wrecks, sort of catching the end of it. The theme tonight has been impatient, wild, crazy words we've heard in the interviews so far. Is there another word you would use for Phoenix tonight?
I mean, I'm going to be honest. I did one official this week, and it was kind of similar. So I was expecting something similar, but nowhere near as many cautions, especially with how good this league started out. I did not expect that many cautions tonight.
Well, right now, it's been a bit of a rough season for you. I mean, you were really on the outside looking in of the playoff points. On the AM side, you came into tonight a good number of points back. So right now, you're probably win and in for Kentucky. How do you like Kentucky? Have you put any practice into it? What's your thoughts on it?
Honestly, I have not put any time into Kentucky yet. I was focused on tonight. Wish I would have gotten the win somehow, but I had a terrible qualifying lap. So the fact that I got 3rd in AM, that's impressive from my standards. But going into next week, I know it's probably going to be winning to get in. So I think I'm just going to try and do what I've done all year, is just keep it clean, and hopefully something goes my way. I know at 1.5 miles I got some good speed, but I also know at 1.5 miles with no cautions, it's more so about saving tires. So I think that's what I'm going to focus on, this upcoming week to prepare for next week.
All right, Marty. Well, good luck next week at Kentucky. We'll see you then, and we'll see if you can lock in to the Final 4.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Also want to give a shout out to my wife. She supports me, watches these broadcasts, and shout out to my friends. We'll be talking to you guys soon. Thanks so much.
All right, thanks, Mike. Well, there you go. Mike Toomer Jr. finished in P3, and AM Joey in what was a yellow flag themed race.
And how nice, though, to be able to talk to all 3 drivers in the top 3 for each categories. I feel like it's been a couple of weeks, but we got to talk to the top 3 pros. We got to talk to the top 3 AMs. It's pretty wonderful hearing from some new voices. But next week, same time, same place, a track we do not go to anymore on the real NASCAR schedule, Kentucky Speedway, kicks off the wild card part of the season and will be the cutoff race for the round of 8. 2 spots left in the pro category, 3 spots left in the AM category. Got to be good at Kentucky if you want to make the championship 4 at Auto Club. We hope you'll join us then. We hope you'll join us next week or next night tomorrow for GTP GT3 action here on RaceSpotTV for the PRL. But until then, whatever you join us for, I've been Joey Tebben. Derek Watson's been Derek Watson. Our producer has been Hugo Luis. And until we see you next time, so long.